We're in a deep bear market, a deep bear market. What coins do I think will 100x? That's probably a bit better question, right? Whether it's 3 years, 10 years, but we know it'll be a long time frame, not just like a month, because we're in a deep bear market. It's not going to be a coin in the top 25, if not 50 market cap or FDV, because all these the money's already been made in these projects. So we're going to go somewhat low cap and somewhat try to predict where the space is going. Let's talk about one that hasn't launched yet, Hivemapper. This I've covered before. Hivemapper, for those who don't know, is similar to Helium Network. Actually, the Helium team is advising them, or the Helium CEO is an advisor for Hivemapper. It's similar to Helium, where you would just purchase a device and you would just share your Wi-Fi or internet access, and you'd earn tokens. Hivemapper, same model, is drive to earn, kind of like StepN. Actually, the Solana CEO is also advising the project. They're building on Solana, but they do have an integration with Helium. But basically, it's a dashboard camera, or dash cam, rather, that you purchase. You put this in your car, and it basically maps the road. And in exchange for mapping the road via photos, videos, and all that, they pay you in a token called the Honey token. So if you're already driving, for slightly under $600, you can get paid tokens to drive. To me, this is an easy no-brainer. The reason why I think this can 100x, not from buying the token, just from driving. If you're already driving anyway, might as well get paid for it. And for a very low investment of $600, similar to the Helium device, you could have a huge upside. But the upside for getting the 100x with Hivemapper is by being early. But if I had to pick one crypto asset that I think could do 100x, Hivemapper for sure. I think next market cycle, this is up there. So they are kind of behind in terms of shipping devices. I ordered 2 devices in summertime, still haven't received mine. So I think by Q1, Q2 next year, they'll be shipped. But I think this is one that could do 100x. Obviously not financial advice. Other crypto asset can 100x. Very bullish on Cosmos ecosystem, primarily because lots of projects and developers are building in their ecosystem. And I think interoperability, connecting other blockchains is the next big narrative, because we have so many L1s. How do we get all of them to talk to each other? So I think an L1 in that space is going to do 100x. So the ones we've been looking at in the Cosmos ecosystem is actually Canto, although I'm not sure about this long term, but definitely worth keeping an eye on. So it's basically an EVM in the Cosmos ecosystem. It's a fair launch DeFi L1, FDV under 200 million. But the reason why is if you go to DeFi Llama, if I'm looking for 100x, I'm going to definitely look at something in the Cosmos ecosystem. Sometimes DeFi Llama is always confusing me. Okay, so here I can see Cosmos, but on the other page I couldn't see Cosmos. All right, so looking at the Cosmos ecosystem. So if I had to pick, because this is an EVM in Cosmos, and there are lots of other EVMs and lots of other L1s in the Cosmos ecosystem, right? So you have Canto, you have Juno, you have Secret Network, you have Evmos. So Evmos, from a TVL perspective, not the best metric, sometimes a vanity metric, but for perspective, it's still pretty good. Points you somewhat in the right direction. Canto has about 80 million TVL versus Evmos 4 million, right? So 80 versus 4 million, and Canto is a third cheaper from an FTV perspective. So definitely worth keeping an eye on. If I had to pick a potential 100x, maybe this, but this is super risky. And I think you could also look at the other perspective that, do we really need more EVMs? So I think that's something worth considering, because do they have any actual value besides just letting people port Ethereum dApps onto Cosmos or onto other L1s? But I think for market share, you do have to have some kind of EVM. Then I think Moonbeam worth looking into. Moonbeam is bridging dApps from Polkadot and Cosmos together, right? Our team was down in Cosmoverse in Colombia. Developers in the Cosmos ecosystem were using Moonbeam to connect to Polkadot. So definitely worth keeping an eye on Moonbeam. FDV slightly over 400 million. Definitely keeping an eye on Mina Protocol. It's a light L1, very efficient. We had an interview with their founder and CEO, I think over 2 years ago on our channel on YouTube. Then Harmony. Maybe Harmony. If we go to Token Metrics, our long-term investor grade likes Harmony. So I think that's one worth keeping an eye on. And they did pretty well in the last bull run. If we switch here to investor grade, Yeah, so Harmony has a grade of 78%. So this is, so in terms of L1s that I think could have potential, and they had some growth, right? They had some developers building on their blockchain, and I think next market cycle they could do even better. Great technology. One of the founders left and founded some other blockchain, but I think Harmony is definitely worth keeping an eye on. If we can look at what applications on Arbitrum are doing well, right? We have GMX once again, right? We mentioned this was our coin of the month, so maybe worth looking into this as a potential non-L1 play. And relative to the entire sector, so if we go to derivatives, the category, and looking at FDV, right, we have DYDX, FDV of 1.8 billion, GMX 700 million, synthetics basically 500 million. But if we compare the actual category derivatives from a TVL perspective, GMX has a lot more TVL than DYDX. Then we have Gains Network here on Polygon, 25 million TVL. So if you want a super risky play, I think GMX, maybe Gains Network. This want to do a deeper dive on the technology. This might seem more like a cyclical, more like a bull market play or trade. But GMX seems to have a lot of adoption with 500 million TVL and with a much cheaper FDV versus DYDX. If the thesis is that derivatives is going to be a huge space long term, maybe GMX could. So could it do 100x from here? So 7 billion. I think this is definitely more of a 10-year play. But if we're looking for something short term, not so much. Yeah. So just kind of recap, we had Hivemapper. I think that one because it's launching very, very low, and you have the device. Then I talked about the Cosmos ecosystem. We talked about Canto. Talked about L1's Harmony, I think potentially. I talked about Mina Protocol, GMX. Those are the ones on the list. But that being said, let me know what you guys think. What do you think could do 100x down below?